And we are at the bottom of the ocean. Welcome to the North American Saturday morning Fast Start training call. My name is Amy McKenzie. I'm an Emerald executive with Vija International, and I have the great joy of calling in from my home office on Whidbey Island in Washington. And it is an honor to be here and spend the next 45 minutes with all of you this morning. I'm here today because, quite simply, I had a life-changing experience on the Vija products. After about 30-plus years in theater, as a producer, writer, director, stage manager, it was clear to me that sharing the message of Vija was truly my new calling. It's one I consider to be, in the words of our founder's son, Stephen Brailsford, a moral obligation, and one I take on very joyfully. Before we begin, I want to encourage you to grab pencil and paper and the Fast Start training outline that you've hopefully had a chance to print out. You would have maybe received an email with these links. If not, you can access these documents at oneteamworldwide.com. That's all lowercase, all written out, oneteamworldwide.com. And the distributor login can be found in the upper right-hand corner. Simply click on the OTW members, and the password is millionaire. Now, I want to give a special welcome to our new distributors on the line who may have just joined within the last day or two, perhaps sometime this week. This call is dedicated to helping you learn what it takes to build a full-time income working part-time from the comfort of your home. Before we begin, I want to preface this training is not for everyone. If you're looking for a supplemental income, let's say, that's actually quite easy because our products truly work. If that's the case, then what you're doing, you're in the business of sharing the product and creating a customer base. Let's face it, the American average income right now is about $35,000 a year. So bringing in an extra $5,000 to $10,000 a year is very meaningful. It can literally make the difference between someone keeping their house or not. This can easily be accomplished by simply sharing your experience of being on the product. This training today, however, is geared toward those of you who wish to create what we like to call replacement income, making not $100 a week, $1,000 a week. If this is the case, you are now in the business not just of selling to family and friends, but developing a distribution team, a way that you can leverage your time. $1,000 a week is about $50,000 a year. And that does replace, unfortunately, most people's full-time income in today's economy. So, how can this be accomplished? Quite simple. The key is duplication. Duplication is the key to success here. And this training also addresses the next level. Those people seeking a life-changing income. Instead of $1,000 a week, these are the people looking to make $1,000 a day. And this can be accomplished by developing leaders within your distribution team. The trick is, to do this, you must first become a leader yourself. How do we do that? That's what we're going to talk about today. The real magic here, by simply learning our duplicatable system and then mastering it, with the support of your upline leadership, you will be able to earn while you learn until you are ready to step into the role as leader yourself. So, there are going to be 3 components to this training. Number 1, creating your Vija story. Number 2, learning to duplicate a proven system. And finally, 3, training and orientation, just to help our new distributors get around and know the basics. Now, as I said earlier, duplication is the key to success. The thing is, duplication is inevitable. Your new distributors will do whatever you do, whether it is correct or not. Kind of like any parents out there have some children what we do, no matter what we tell them, it's really important to clarify this point. Our activity needs to be correct. So, unless you happen to already be one of the top income earners on the call, we want to make sure that you are moving correctly toward being on the path to success. And to do that, I'm going to change it up a little. And I'm going to say correct duplication is the actual key to success. Now, I have the great fortune of being sponsored by Mr. Fred Holmes. Fred is a triple diamond in CJ International. He's one of the top income earners and responsible for developing this Fast Start training. But thanks to Fred, I've been able to succeed in this business without any prior experience. Now, you might ask yourself, do I have to be sponsored by Mr. Holmes to succeed? No. Thanks to this simple, duplicatable system in place, anyone wishing to create a life-changing income can get into profitability literally beginning in their first 30, 60, 90 days. So let's begin with the first component, your story. Why is this so important? Well, first and foremost, I'm going to refer to my background in theater here. It's human nature to be touched by that which emotionally impacts us. Think about it. Who doesn't remember where they were when they graduated high school? Got your first job? How about when you fell in love? You remember that. It is a well-recorded fact that stories precede all written history. And in fact, by the very origin of language, the inspiration for culture as we know it, we're driven by stories. And just look at the technologies we've developed for the sake of communicating our stories, from photographs to Kindle Fires, all art, whether it's still life, books, live performance, it all begins with a story. Because stories are what move and connect us. And this is why our system is so simple. All you have to do, I'm going to quote our founder, Mr. Ken Brailsford here, is let the product do the heavy lifting. Simply share your story. And more importantly, today's focus, your fast start story. And think about it for a moment. The way you begin this fast start will follow you throughout your ZJ career. Just as our life choices become part of our history, the way you begin your ZJ business defines who you are within this business. What amount of time do you want to take to achieve your personal success story? That question is up to you, and so is the answer. When we're helping someone decide what that is to them, we learn what their goals are. And then we explain there are 3 entry points that one can come in with. You have the personal system or starter system, which is exactly like it sounds. It's enough product for your personal consumption. Probably not going to build a business on it, but it's you might end up with some supplemental income. If you want to build a business, the package is designed, the Builder 1 and the Builder 2 are designed for people seeking to build that full-time income with a part-time business. When I was making my decision as to what package I would come into business with, I decided it'd be a good idea to do what the most successful people, like Fred, were doing. Fred shared with me he came in with the Builder 2 because it would provide the greatest opportunity, enough product to create the highest level of activity so he could create that fast start story. He had enough experience to know that that was going to be more important than any dollar amount he made in those first couple months, because that story would follow him throughout his career. It took me all 2 seconds to recognize I was going to follow the leader and do exactly what he did. So he was also demonstrating correct duplication by sharing that story. So you can see how we really help someone in their very one-time investment, getting into this business, to be able to come in strong. It's kind of, if you buy a grocery store and you don't put any product on the shelf, you're not really in business yet. And that's what I try to help people understand when making their decision, finding out which suits them best. And then, step by step, I followed the system that Fred laid out for me. And we'll go over that in a moment. But as a result, I literally giving out those samples the first week to 10 days. I was able to enroll several new customers and a couple new distributors, and literally paid back the credit card I purchased my package with. I even went into profitability in my first month in a business I had never done before. Now, surprisingly, the magic of my story was not the little bit of money I made, which was great. The magic was that I demonstrated I could do this. This is what propelled my business. See, because my prospects saw they could make the same step. They could purchase a package, literally get those samples out in the field, follow this simple, duplicatable system, and get into profitability like I did in their first month, maybe 2 to 3 months. And they would have my help, and what's more, I would be able to teach them how to do it, because it is a simple system. So, let's discuss how to create your story. This is truly the most important job that we have. In fact, according to Ken, our founder, it's really our only job. The company has set us up to take the other 2 steps with us. There are 3 components in building your story. Number 1, what is your background and motivation? Number 2, how did you get started? And 3, what were your results? So let's break it down. What is your background and, more importantly, your motivation? Your why? See, people buy based on emotions, not facts. You want to be a person, not a walking encyclopedia, right? It's really important then to identify what is the emotion that drives you. To quote Mr. Mike Sims, another of CJ's top income earners and leaders, credible speakers, if your why doesn't make you cry, it's not strong enough. I love that. It really brings the point home. It makes you have to really think about it. For me, much as I love my profession, it really did not provide much of a retirement plan. Certainly not one that could ensure my family's security. Like everyone, I had the bills, the mortgage, etc. I knew I did not want to leave my daughter Valia saddled with burdens, and wanted her to have a wall of financial security around her. And when I think about my daughter, downright tears come to my eyes. Helping her accomplish her dreams, being able to visit her at college, seeing her excel, because there is no financial fear, the greatest gift there is. Dig deep to identify your why. This truly may be the most important step you ever take in achieving success in this business. Step 2. How did you get started? Well, basically, what did you do? People want to know, what did you do? In other words, what package did you choose? What's great about this is that in this one step, you are already planting the seeds of healthy, correct duplication. And step 3, of course, what were your results? People want to know how it turned out. So when I learned that Fred had literally in 2 weeks got caught up with that first package he purchased. 2 weeks. I knew everything I needed to know. At that moment, my 3 most important questions were answered. Hey, does it make sense? Well, looks like it makes sense. Can I do this? Yeah, I think I can do this. And he certainly can teach me. Now I need just to know how. So let's move on to the successful elements of prospecting. It's very, very simple. When you have 2 lists, you're going to have about a dozen people perhaps on each list, and there's no magic to that particular number. I duplicated what Fred told me. So I came up with 2 people, scratched my head a little bit, and a couple more. So I had 12 people on a list. And it's not as hard as it sounds, by the way. Google did a survey reporting the average number of friends on any given Facebook account is 126. So we all definitely probably know at least 24 people. So, the first list are going to be people that you think might be interested in the product. And, don't be afraid to talk to people in your life. Let them know you found something that is working for you, and simply share your story and ask if they'd be willing to try a sample. Maybe give you some feedback. But the best way to do this that I found is, again, keep it personal. Ask question. Find out what's going on in their life. What might be something that they would need or appreciate. If you focus on the person you're speaking to and really listen to what they have to say, it may be that you have the very gift of help they need most in their lives right now. When we take the focus off ourselves and really make it about someone else, it really has an incredible effect on people because they feel heard. And that's something people don't get very often in this world. And then you, of course, can really be of service because you are addressing the need. David Moses, our #1 income earner, master distributor in the company, so speak to their listening. That's when you're really out of the way, available and present for someone. And your second list might be a slightly different approach. These will be people that you think will appreciate the business opportunity. Now, I made a mistake when I first began because I assumed that people who were already successful wouldn't be interested in what I had to offer. Well, I was wrong. Successful people know what it means to have time freedom because most likely they have very little of it. Let's face it, what good is it to have a 6-figure income if you work 70, 80 hours a week and never see your family? Business owners also appreciate what it means to create residual income. What does it matter if no matter how much you make, the moment you stop working, the money stops coming in? That's not freedom. That's a life of fear. So be careful not to make the mistake I made. Try not to prejudge anyone when you're making your list. And just what's more, business owners understand what it takes to succeed. They know how to follow a system. So if you think of all the people whose businesses that you have supported, is it possible one of those people might be willing to give you a few minutes of their time? I'll tell you, there's a great resource. If you're feeling stuck, go back to oneteamworldwide.com. Click into the OTW members login, type in that password millionaire, and you will find a comprehensive list, a memory jogger it's called, of pretty much all the business owners you could ever think of. And as you go down that list, you'll be surprised, oh yeah, that's right, Harry sold me my car. He probably give you 5 minutes. Don't be afraid to talk to people. It's an invitation. When you're clear on that, there's no harm in inviting someone to take a look. You're not insisting they buy. You're not trying to sell them something. You're inviting them to take a look at an opportunity that you have find value in. And now that you've got your 2 lists, it's time to engage. Okay? And what does that actually mean? Well, simply to start using the system I keep referring to. Okay, so what is this system? Well, the beauty of it is it's available to anyone who wants to learn it. It doesn't require any previous education. It doesn't matter how old you are. Nothing. It literally works for anyone, including people like me with no prior experience. In fact, there's an interesting statistic about PG International. Nearly 78% of our distributors in this company have no prior experience. That says a lot about the quality of this company, the opportunity, and the quality of our product. There are people who are willing to step out of their comfort zone because they feel it's that important to share this opportunity. Okay? The reason it works, again, is because it only takes these 3 simple steps. Number 1, invitation. Number 2, presentation. And number 3, validation. So let's break this down one step at a time. Step 1, that invitation. And this is what we've been talking about. This is actually going to be a lot easier than you thought because you have already learned in this training everything you need to know about step 1. It's your story. 60 seconds. That is all that is asked of us. In fact, the company and our upline leaders provide everything else that we need to get started. Story is truly your major responsibility. Well, pretty much everyone knows how they feel about something and can communicate that. That doesn't require education. Doesn't require special skills. If your job is to tell your story, then what you want to do is master that. And I'm going to quote another favorite leader leader, Amy Stroop. Become brilliant at the basics. And that's what it is. So defining that 60 seconds, go back over this training. Really identify that background and motivation, identify your why. You certainly know what you did to come in and what your results are. It's not difficult. It simply requires a little bit of practice until you become comfortable enough to speak your story to anyone. Step 2 is the presentation. Again, what do you know? Great news. Not our responsibility. There is a presentation or a tool for every occasion. In fact, I just heard Dr. Noreen Ziegler say recently, another diamond in our company, if you can't find the tool, you don't need it. Because at this point in our development, every tool that you require already exists. And you can choose from CDs, DVDs, conference calls, newspapers, brochures, websites, you name it. We have it. And ask yourself, how hard is it to send someone to a website? Hand them a brochure. Give them a phone number. There's no need to wait. You don't have to learn anything to begin this business. And that's why it can work for anyone. Whether it's Dee Shaw with 14 children, 9 stay at home, whether it's, Clinton 5 or anyone with a busy life out there can find 15 minutes here or there to be able to do this, because our responsibility is to tell our story and then give someone the expert information that's available to us. Don't be the presenter, not your job. And quite frankly, you probably wouldn't have come into this business just because someone told you to. You needed to be able to research yourself. So it's actually respectful to give someone the tools and the information they need to do their own research. So, now you've told your story, given someone a sample, led them to a presentation, it's time for step 3, validation. And this step is vital to your success. And yet, interestingly, it is most often the step people skip. It's worth taking a moment here to consider the importance of validation, the psychology behind it, if you will. For example, if someone tells you about a great movie they've seen, you might remember the title. That's probably about it. Someone else mentions that same movie, you might think, oh yeah, so-and-so mentioned that. Maybe I should catch that one. Doesn't mean you're going to go out and buy a ticket. But if you hear about it a third time, chances are very strong you will make a point to see that movie or read that book, whatever it is. It's human nature to need validation. And this is not a difficult step. If you can introduce 2 people over the phone, you're in. Because that's all there is to it. And it's even more important than just hearing it from someone else. When your prospect gets to hear from someone who's already succeeding in this business, no matter what level they've achieved, they get the validation they need, they get the vision from the perspective of someone who's making this work. And they realize they have more than one person supporting them. That's huge. Knowing that you have the guidance to choose the right package, to make the right choices, to get started in your business. It takes someone with vision. If the new guy can talk about, well, it's great, I'm making a couple $100 a week. That's wonderful. And then maybe the upline person, doing validation, can talk about making $1,000 a week. Well, that's pretty significant. We can't talk about what we haven't done yet. We need the support of that upline to be able to validate what we're saying is a real, legitimate opportunity. And the 3-step system works for one reason. The simpler you keep things, the more likely people are going to feel this is something they can do or have time for. And when they review the steps you took to introduce them, they'll realize all you did was share what you liked about the product. That only took about a minute. You gave them some information, and then you put them on the phone with someone who has more experience and didn't say another word. Now, that is how you create correct duplication. Whereas, I love Phil Jacobs. It's the I don't talk method. And that's really right. The less you say, the better. And to quote, so many of my favorite leaders have videos that you can watch at Peak University that will help you understand why it's important to keep this simple. Now, you've come this far. It's really time to step out of your comfort zone and ask yourself this question. Am I willing to be uncomfortable for a little while in exchange for being comfortable for the rest of my life? And let's face it, if you do not believe in this product or this opportunity, you wouldn't be on this training right now. Okay? So, as you're looking at this, do your very best not to reinvent this wheel. And I'll tell you, the smarter you are, the more challenging that will be. Keep it simple, keep it fun, and keep it magical. Okay, now you've got the 3-step system. Big mystery is solved. We keep quiet and let the presentation and our upline do the talking, fine. But what else do you need to know? Not much, actually. And most of it you will pick up along the way. And quite frankly, the top 10 leaders in Vigil will all tell you the same thing. All you need to know when you're starting out is, who am I calling next? Right? And then all you need to do is plug into the system. I will now take a few minutes and cover the new distributor orientation so you have an idea of what happens after you make those initial calls and sign up your first 2 people. There are 3 steps that will help your new distributor get off to that fast start. And of course, this training is one of them. And the lifeline or power line calls, very important. If your sponsor is doing the system properly, you already know their sponsor because you were introduced to them during that foundation call. Now it's time to meet the next actively engaged upline in the organization. Ideally, this happens within the first 24 to 48 hours of enrollment, creating an even greater vision of what is possible to achieve with each other. And why is that important? Frankly, the greater the vision, the faster we grow. Right? Hope is an incredible incentive, and that can provide tremendous energy and get you through the days that can be challenging. Like any business, like any job, it will be a challenging day. And so having that support, knowing you're not alone, is really important. Make sure that your people get connected to your team. Step 2, set some goals. Focus on that why we talked about. Now, as a director, knowing I have to open a play by a certain date is not enough. I've got to set goals. I need to understand how to break down my rehearsal schedule in order to have my cast ready by opening night. I can't just say you've got the part, see it in 6 weeks. The best technique I found is to begin at the end goal and then back into my schedule, breaking it down in bite-sized pieces. That way I know it's achievable. So set your goals to fit within the framework of your existing responsibilities. That way they'll be realistic and you'll actually be able to be consistent. So David Moses is very clear. It's about the daily method of operation. You don't want to do 15 minutes, you do want to do 15 minutes, not into 8 hours on a Saturday. You want to do a little something every day. If 15 minutes is all you can spare, that's enough. There are people that are succeeding that started with 7 hours a week tops to work with. And I learned a hint from Eric Worre in his marketing training. Take that 1 hour and break it into 4 15-minute increments. There's probably a 15-minute slot that's not productive for you right now during the day. Find that slot and plug in a phone call to that. Do a follow-up. Watch the ZZ University training video. And little by little, over time, you will begin to have tremendous momentum and really have your feet on the ground. It's up to you how long this takes. It will work as long as you continue to do correct activity on a daily basis. Number 3, that time commitment, right, leads right into this. By committing to that appropriate amount of time, you will empower yourself if you put those goals in writing. I don't even know why that works, but we all know that it does. I think it's because it makes us accountable. And when you come down to it, you might want to commit to at least 1 year so that you can benefit from those daily activities, benefit from your efforts. And if you think about it, if you go out to get a job, you're certainly going to not quit before 2 years or so. If you did that, your resume would be so hodgepodge, you'd eventually no longer be employable. And it's standard practice to give a job at least a couple of years. At least 1 year to your own business. And people always ask, is this a get-rich-quick scheme? No. So this requires a daily method of operation. This is a business. Have you ever had a job that didn't? And when you really come down to it, do you think a 3-year plan for retirement as opposed to, say, a traditional 30-year plan is too long? Not at all. So make a decision, whatever it is that works for you. But I would say give it at least a year so that you can begin to see the fruit of your efforts. Now let's move on to orientation for new distributors. This is number one thing a new distributor wants to be doing to get into profitability quickly is to start contacting people on their lists. But we do want to know our way around the back office. I don't spend a lot of time on this because it's real easy to get, kind of usurped by it. Gosh, I've got to know the compensation plan. And no, really you don't. I know plenty of diamonds out there that still don't know the compensation plan. They take their check every week and they're quite satisfied. It's not to say that you can't learn it or that you won't learn it. But is it really important as your first priority? Probably not. Probably the first thing to do is still get 2 people. Because really, how much does the compensation plan matter if you're not going into profit? It really doesn't matter much at all. So keep your focus, keep your eye on the ball, if you will, of the steps we discussed earlier. And just familiarize yourself with what's there. So when you look at the path to success, the 6 most important points. Number 1, the back office tour. Well, of course, we want to know how to log in and make sure our distributors know their user and password. And of course, that training I was discussing in the VG University, it's incredible. This was a brainchild of Dr. Pat Anderson, who now the corporate team took over, and with the help of leaders throughout VIJA, have created an incredible wealth of quick training videos that you can plug into those 15-minute increments. And of course, you're going to want to personalize the website, and that's a wonderful gift. These replicated websites that we have, they're worth a fortune, and you can go in there and put in your story, make sure that your email and phone number are correct. You can even choose what order people see videos in, what is the flash point, first thing that comes up on the page, and then you can even actually utilize this in your business, creating email campaigns, drip campaigns. It's an incredible resource. At some point, as you build, you want to be aware of that so that you can take full use of it. But for now, really all you need is your picture and your story. And then make sure the person knows how to find ProPay. After 4 checks, we have the opportunity to select this, basically a Visa debit card. And that's a wonderful tool. I can't tell you how many times I've been out shopping and, of course, pull out my Visa ProPay card, starts a conversation, and the next thing you know, I'm leaving the person with a sample. Oh, I'll be flying back through when this meeting's over. I'll stop and check in on you, right? So that's very easy to do. It's right under the commissions tab. And after that 4th check, you just click that button and you can apply. You want to, of course, show them how to enroll a customer in a new distributor, how to place a personal order, control your authorship. The beauty of that, of course, is that's also true with your customers. I find it very helpful when people learn that they get to control their own authorship. If they want to, you can also manage it if that's something you'd like to do. But knowing that the company sends a product every month because you essentially asked them to, but at any point in time, you can put in a username and a password. You can handle your own back office. You simply go to view my orders and edit auto ship, change whatever you want. And that puts people at ease. So I will often let someone know if they have a concern about auto ship that they need it because it's simple and they get total control. And then finally, view genealogy. This helps people visualize how our 2 legs work, and that's very helpful. And there's a few tips you can show them of how to place that new enrollee within the organization correctly. But I encourage new distributors to check with their upline before they do any enrollments in the beginning, so they really get the hang of how to do this in the most effective way. Keep in close touch with your new people, and because it's defeating, it's so easy to push the button and enroll someone. But it's really important that we do it correctly. So do stay in close contact with your new people, helping them grow and develop correctly. And then, send them to oneteamworldwide.com. I like to do this the same day they enroll, and get them to enroll in that OTW newsletter, again, provided by our master distributor, David Moses, so they're up to date with upcoming events, newsletters, conference calls, new tools, etc. We want to duplicate this because this is how we plug into the system. Have them print out the conference call schedule. This is one of the most important parts of our system for training, leadership development, opportunity presentations. I'll tell you, for me, plugging into those weekly calls, whether I had a guest or not, because I didn't always, was invaluable for getting started. In fact, there's quite a few high-level leaders on this call right now. Some of my current side certainly knows how to do this business. You don't get to dive in without knowing. And yet, he makes the time to plug into the system, to refresh and revive, rejuvenate. It's very important. And in the beginning, I didn't have a lot of stories. It was really helpful to me to go on to those Tuesday and Thursday opportunity calls, get me excited about the business, do it from a different perspective, and hear new testimonials that I could then refer to when I was first introducing someone or inviting them to take a look. Plugging into that system on a weekly basis, you'll notice if you start to, as you hang around, you begin to recognize leaders plugging into those calls on a regular basis. Very powerful. And then, of course, show them the training videos, career can develop their skill set. David has some great stuff on the OneTeamWorldwide.com site, as well as Dr. Howard Fisher's book that you can order, which is another terrific resource. And finally, you want to let them know how to find the archive training and protocols available there, and of course, the Fast Start training outlines and other documents. I also really recommend that you print out the Team 250 Speed Qualifier rules. This is such a gift for us. We are being rewarded to do what we aren't really going to do anyways, which is book at 2 people. But the way this promotion works, we can show them how they can begin operating a zero overhead business from their very first month by simply enrolling those 2 people, double smart packs. And if you duplicate this, letting their prospects know how simple it is to get your product paid for by this company, well, that's exciting. What other company you know where by doing what you're supposed to do anyway, you get rewarded not only with your commissions, but you can actually get your product paid for simply by bringing in a couple new people a month that are willing to try it for at least another month. It's an incredible opportunity. And also, we want to let people know about the team beds. This is very unusual. A lot of companies have a luxury car program, of course, but that generally have to be at the top of the ladder. In this company, you can get mid-range and literally qualify to be paid starting at $400 a month, and moving up all the way to $1,000 as you move up that ladder. To have the ability to be able to get paid to go out and get a Mercedes-Benz. Can't tell you what a wonderful thing that is. So make sure that people know what promotions that are available to them. And one of the most important things that we have going on, of course, right now, is our annual convention, Race to the Summit, happening in Salt Lake City, Utah, October 10, 11, and 12, right around the corner. I cannot impress upon you enough how significant this is. We talked about step-3 validation with that 3-way call. Well, and of course, the next step up from that would be PBR, and the next, just really, a personal business presentation. The next step up from that would be an event in your local area. I'll tell you, the greatest recruiting tool of all time is the convention. Nothing will provide you with a greater sense of vision to be able to see the manufacturing facility. It is awe-inspiring. The power of being able to listen to the breakout sessions and the leaders and the training. It's an incredible array of keynote speakers. We don't just have 1 or 2. We have 3. Les Brown, who, if you've never heard, is one of the most inspiring people I've ever had the pleasure to hear speak as a motivational speaker. We have Ed Masters, who has literally climbed every 8,000-meter peak, 13 in all, in the world, and won literally the National Geographic Adventure of the Year. And I love his take I love that the company would choose him for keynote speaker. Tells you a lot about what they're thinking about. Timing is about focus, as he says. And Ed says that knowing when to go, when to stay, and when to retreat is the secret. Well, that's true for us too, isn't it? When you're out there inviting. This is going to be a very motivational piece. And then finally, John Maxwell, who's internationally renowned expert on leadership. And the man has sold over 21 million books. I love that, two of his books in particular, Developing the Leader Within, exactly what we're talking about in this phone call. That's the kind of support, the kind of thinking that's coming out of corporate for us out here in the field. If there's any way that you can attend that event, you'll never regret it. And they did a statistic last year. I think it's very interesting. 78% of the new distributors that attended our event literally are not only still in business, they're succeeding. Less than 40% of the people who did not attend are even still in the business. See, because they didn't get the vision. It's really, really powerful once you understand that this company is being built multi-generationally. It's not going away. And the only thing you need to do to succeed is not go away. It's not really a question of if. It's simply a matter of when. And that's up to you, whatever your timing is. As long as you remain engaged, you will succeed, this company. You have all the support and all the tools that you need. So do join us at convention if it's at all possible for you to do. Now, amazingly, you've just been given everything you need to create a lifetime of residual income in just a few short years with this company. In fact, this plan is so simple, it's kind of easy to miss one very important point. Listening to this call is not enough. This isn't something you just listen to once and check off your list. Okay? Unless you actually commit to doing the steps outlined here, completing the assignments, if you will, this is nothing more than a piece of paper with notes on it in about 45 minutes of your time on Saturday morning. Now, to really make this work, recognize that that one sheet of paper, that outline, represents 28 years of Mr. Holmes' experience in this business. It is one page for a reason, to keep it simple. Right? Don't go out and write a manual. We don't need to be encyclopedias. Just in your heart. Tell your story. To recap, in our 3-step system, you've got one job. As you tell your story, keep in mind that people don't buy facts. Right? They're moved by emotion. Think and speak from your heart, and people will recognize that. It'll be the most important gift that you can give someone is getting out of the way so that they can hear the information that you have, and hopefully go and look it up. And so I will close out this call with this suggestion. Find your why, your burning passion that, as our founder Ken Brailsford says, lights a fire in your belly. And then remind yourself at the start of each new day. Because truly, your why will be the torch that lights your path and leads you forward on this journey to International. Thank you very much for your time, everyone. With that, I open up